You know their names: Cruyff, Guardiola, Mourinho, Ferguson, Ancelotti, the managers who revolutionized football, the coaches every aspiring manager studies. But here's what often goes unsaid. They didn't invent everything. They stood on the shoulders of giants who came before them, men who were mocked, ridiculed, and dismissed as crazy. This is the story of 5 of those giants, 5 managers who were told they would fail, 5 outsiders who became prophets. Their names might not be as famous, but their influence is everywhere. When Guardiola talks about spatial manipulation, he's channeling Rinus Michels. When Klopp's Liverpool press with coordinated intensity, they're executing Arrigo Sacchi's vision. When Arsenal play technical football with scientific preparation, that's Arsène Wenger's legacy. And when elite managers across the world speak about tactical obsession and relentless intensity, they're quoting Marcelo Bielsa. These are the men who built the foundation. July 7, 1974, the Olympiastadion in Munich. The Netherlands, Clockwork Orange, had destroyed everyone in their path. Argentina 4-0, Brazil, the defending champions, 2-0. They played football that seemed impossible. Center-backs charging into midfield, wingers dropping into defense, strikers building from deep. Positions that weren't really positions. Standing on the touchline, arms folded, was the man responsible, Rinus Michels, a former journeyman striker who'd never played for his country, a coach who'd transformed a struggling Ajax side into 3-time European champions by asking a dangerous question: what if football's most sacred rule was wrong? Before Michels, football was rigid. Defenders defended, attackers attacked, formations were fixed: 4-2-4, 4-4-2, 3-5-2. Everyone knew their role and stayed in their box. Michels looked at that structure and saw a prison. He saw talented players trapped in zones they weren't allowed to leave, and he saw vast amounts of unused space on the pitch because players refused to move from their designated areas. When Michels became manager of Ajax Amsterdam in 1965, Dutch football was largely irrelevant. Ajax hadn't won a European trophy, but Michels had a vision. What if players could interchange roles depending on the game situation? What if a center-back could become a midfielder and a midfielder could become a striker? Not randomly, but with purpose, intelligence, and organization. He called it total football. The concept was simple but unprecedented. Any outfield player could take over the role of any other player. If a center-back pushed forward, a midfielder dropped back to cover. The formation was fluid, constantly shifting from 4-3-3 to 3-4-3 and back, responding to where the ball was. The foundation was brilliant in its simplicity. Make the pitch as large as possible when you have the ball and as small as possible when you don't. When Ajax attacked, players spread across the full width of the field, stretching defenses until they cracked. When they lost possession, the team compressed into a compact block, pressing immediately to win the ball back. But total football required something traditional football didn't: exceptional technical ability from every single player. And that's where Johan Cruyff became essential. Nominally a striker, Cruyff played everywhere, dropping into midfield, dragging defenders out of position, orchestrating attacks from deep. He was the living embodiment of total football. Between 1971 and 1973, Ajax won 3 consecutive European Cups. Then came the 1974 World Cup, and Michels' Netherlands team played football that transcended sport. They destroyed Argentina 4-0. They beat Brazil 2-0. The world watched in awe. Then came the final against West Germany. The Netherlands dominated, but they couldn't score enough. West Germany won 1-2. Critics declared total football dead. They were wrong, because what happened that night wasn't the end of total football. It was the beginning of modern football. Within 2 decades, Guardiola, taught by Cruyff, taught by Michels, would systematize these ideas into positional play that would force every elite club in the world to adapt. In 1999, FIFA named Rinus Michels the coach of the century. not for the most trophies, but for changing how football is played. Making the pitch large when attacking and small when defending, now called spatial manipulation, and its tactics 101. Pressing immediately after losing possession, now called counter-pressing, and it's essential at elite clubs. Positional fluidity, now called positional play, and Guardiola has built an empire on it. When Michels died in 2005, football mourned the architect who built modern football's blueprint. Total football lost in Munich, but it won everywhere else. Milan, 1987. When AC Milan appointed Arrigo Sacchi as head coach, Italian football didn't just raise an eyebrow, it exploded with mockery. Because Sacchi had never been a professional footballer. He'd spent his career working at his family's shoe factory in Fusignano while coaching amateur teams on weekends. His highest achievement was leading Parma, a C3 club, to promotion. And now this man was going to coach AC Milan? At his unveiling press conference, a journalist asked the question everyone was thinking. You never played football at the highest level. How can you possibly coach these players? The room waited for Sacchi to fumble. Instead, he delivered one of football's most famous lines. I never realized that in order to become a jockey, you have to have been a horse first. Sacchi didn't just want to coach Milan, he wanted to challenge the entire philosophy of Italian football. For decades, Italian clubs had been dominated by Catenaccio, the doorbolt, a defensive system that prioritized not conceding above everything else. Sit deep, man-mark every opponent, use a sweeper behind the defensive line, and wait for one chance on the break. It was effective, and it had turned Italian football into defensive chess, where 1-0 wins were celebrated as masterpieces. Sacchi's solution was revolutionary. Instead of man-marking, Milan would use zonal marking, defending spaces, not players. In Italy, this was blasphemy. Instead of sitting deep with a sweeper, Milan would defend with a high defensive line, sometimes pushing to the halfway line, using the offside trap to compress the game. And most radically, instead of sitting back and reacting, Sacchi wanted his team to press collectively, the entire unit moving together to cut off passing lanes, turn over sterns, and win the ball high up on the pitch. Franco Baresi, Milan's captain and one of Italy's greatest defenders, later admitted, "When Sacchi arrived, we didn't understand what he wanted. He made us train shadow games, full matches with an imaginary ball, where he'd call out where the ball was, and we had to position ourselves accordingly. We thought he was crazy." But slowly, it clicked. The movements became automatic. The positioning became instinctive. Sacchi's back four of Baresi, Maldini, Alessandro Costacurta, and Mauro Tassati became arguably the greatest defensive unit in football history, not through man-marking expertise, but through zonal discipline and coordinated pressing. Sacchi also brought in Dutch players who understood total football, Ruud Gullit, Marco van Basten, and Frank Rijkaard. The combination was devastating. In the 88-89 season, Milan won the European Cup, beating Steaua Bucharest 4-0. The following year, they retained it, beating Benfica 1-0. But the semifinal against Real Madrid in 1989 told the real story. Real's Quinta del Puerto, built on individual flair and technical elegance, came to the San Siro for the second leg. Milan won 5-0. Sacchi's collective organization had suffocated individual brilliance. His pressing had turned Real's stars into passengers. Milan won Serie A in 88, 92, and 93 under Sacchi and his methods. Zonal marking became standard across Europe. The sweeper position began to disappear from elite football. Collective pressing became gospel. The shoe salesman had killed Catenaccio and replaced it with something better, something that proved defending through organization could be more dominant than defending through individual marking. When Klopp's Liverpool suffocate opponents with coordinated pressing, they're channeling Sacchi. When Bayern Munich won the Champions League in 2020 with high pressing and zonal defending, they were executing his vision. Sacchi proved that ideas matter more than pedigree, and that sometimes the best person to revolutionize something is the outsider who has no obligation to respect its traditions. October 2015. Jurgen Klopp walks into his first Liverpool press conference wearing his trademark smile. The English press expected a Mourinho-style declaration of greatness. Instead, Klopp grinned and said 4 words, "I'm the normal one."
No, so let me work. I'm a totally normal guy. I came from Black Forest.
Everyone laughed, but there was nothing normal about what he was about to do. Within 5 years, he transformed Liverpool from mid-table inconsistency into Champions League and Premier League champions, and forced every team in England to fundamentally rethink how they played. Klopp once described his philosophy by contrasting it with Arsène Wenger's elegant arsenal. He likes having the ball, playing football, passes. It's like an orchestra, but it's a silent song. I like heavy metal more. I always like it loud. Heavy metal football. His teams don't control games through patient possession. They overwhelm opponents through intensity, aggression, and relentless pressure. The foundation of his system is Gegenpressing, counter-pressing. The concept sounds simple. Press immediately after losing possession, before the opponent can organize. But what Klopp did with it was far more sophisticated. He understood that the best moment to win the ball back is those crucial 5 to 6 seconds right after you lose it, when the opponent is still disoriented, still looking for options. That's when you attack. Not with individuals chasing the ball, but with coordinated pressure from multiple directions, cutting off every passing lane and forcing errors. Klopp had developed Gegenpressing at Mainz, where his mentor Wolfgang Frank, influenced by Sacchi, taught him that pressing was about controlling space. But it was at Borussia Dortmund where it became heavy metal football. When Klopp arrived at Dortmund in 2008, they were mid-table. Bayern dominated German football. Within 3 years, Dortmund won back-to-back Bundesliga titles in 2011 and 2012. In the 2011-12 season, they finished 8 points ahead of Bayern, while conceding just 25 goals in 34 games. His famous declaration captures it perfectly. Gegenpressing is the best playmaker in the world. He didn't say his creative midfielder. He said the act of winning the ball back immediately. That's revolutionary thinking. At Liverpool, Klopp's front three, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and Roberto Firmino, became the most feared attacking unit in Europe. But what made them devastating wasn't just their goals, it was how they pressed. Firmino, in particular, epitomized the philosophy, not a prolific scorer, but a false 9 who pressed defenders with such intelligence that he constantly created advantages for his teammates. His work rate off the ball made him invaluable. Klopp also revolutionized the fullback position. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson weren't traditional defenders. They were attacking weapons who pushed high, delivered crosses, and created overloads while the midfield provided defensive cover. Alexander-Arnold registered 12 assists in the 2018-19 Premier League season, matching many elite wingers. The results? Liverpool won the Champions League in 2018-19, beating Tottenham 2-0 in the final. The following season, they won the Premier League with 99 points, losing just 3 games. They clinched the title with 7 games to spare, as early as any team had ever won the Premier League. Klopp's influence spread everywhere. Manchester City incorporated pressing elements. Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel pressed aggressively. Arsenal under Mikel Arteta presses high. Gegenpressing became standard practice at elite clubs worldwide. When Klopp announced in January 2024 that he was leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, the football world mourned. Not just Liverpool fans, but everyone who appreciated the revolution he'd started. The normal one changed everything. September 1996. The Premier League was only 4 years old, and English football was stuck in the past. Players ate burgers and chips before matches. Fitness training consisted of running laps. Nutrition science was ignored. Sports psychology was considered weakness. And into this environment walked a 46-year-old Frenchman that nobody in England had heard of, Arsène Wenger. Most recently, the manager of Nagoya Grampus 8 in Japan. When Arsenal announced his appointment, the tabloid headline in the Evening Standard read simply, "Arsène who?" Wenger's revolution began quietly, behind closed doors. He walked into Arsenal's canteen and found exactly what he expected: fried foods, heavy carbohydrates, sugary snacks. He banned all of it: lean proteins, fresh vegetables, carefully measured hydration. Then he brought in specialists Arsenal had never employed: nutritionists, psychologists, fitness coaches. He introduced proper stretching routines, ice baths, recovery protocols. He focused on injury prevention through science. It sounds basic now. In 1996, it was extraordinary. Tony Adams, Arsenal's legendary captain, later credited Wenger with extending his career. He introduced me to a whole new way of thinking about preparation, diet, and recovery. I played my best football in my 30s because of him. But Wenger's tactical revolution was equally important. He brought continental football to England: technical excellence, positional play, intelligent movement, patient build-up. His Arsenal teams passed with purpose, created triangles all over the pitch, and scored through intelligence rather than physicality. Playing football is very simple, but playing simple football is the hardest thing there is. His first great Arsenal team, the 1997-1998 squad, won the Premier League and FA Cup double, combining Dutch technical excellence in Dennis Bergkamp and Marc Overmars with French flair in Patrick Vieira and Emmanuel Petit, and English determination in Tony Adams and Lee Keane, something entirely new in English football. Then came Thierry Henry, signed from Juventus in 1999 for £11 million, where he'd been a struggling winger. Wenger saw something nobody else did: Henry could be a complete striker. Henry scored 228 goals for Arsenal under Wenger's guidance, winning 2 Premier League titles and 4 FA Cups, and establishing himself as arguably the greatest player in Premier League history. In 2003-2004 came the Invincibles. Arsenal went unbeaten for an entire 38-game Premier League season: 26 wins, 12 draws, 0 defeats. It remains the only time any team has completed a Premier League season undefeated. What made them special wasn't just the record, it was how they played. The tactical flexibility, the blend of styles, the freedom within structure that Wenger gave his players. As Dennis Bergkamp later explained, he never said, "Do this, do that." He let me do my own thing. Players weren't being told what to do, more they weren't being told not to do things. Wenger also revolutionized how English clubs recruited. He signed Patrick Vieira from AC Milan for £3.5 million. He brought Robert Pires from Marseille for £6 million. He recruited teenage Cesc Fabregas from Barcelona's academy at age 16. He signed Robin van Persie from Feyenoord as raw talent and developed him into a world-class striker. His eye for undervalued global talent became one of his greatest legacies. After 2006, when Arsenal moved to the Emirates Stadium and had to manage tight finances, Wenger still qualified for the Champions League for 19 consecutive seasons, a record that may never be broken, while other clubs spent hundreds of millions of dollars on ready-made stars. When he left Arsenal in 2018, after 22 years, the tributes came from everywhere, including from Sir Alex Ferguson, his fiercest rival. Arsene's legacy will endure at Arsenal and in English football. Before Wenger, English football was insular and tactically predictable. After Wenger, it became global, technical, and scientifically prepared. He opened the door for every foreign manager and idea that followed. That's not just a coaching legacy, it's an education.
Leeds, July 2018. A fallen giant of English football, stuck in the second tier for 14 years, appoints a 63-year-old Argentine coach with a reputation for brilliance and chaos in equal measure. Marcelo Bielsa, El Loco, the Mad One. the man Pep Guardiola once traveled to Argentina specifically to learn from, later saying, "My admiration for Marcelo Bielsa is huge. He makes the players much, much better." The man Mauricio Pochettino calls like a father and credits with teaching him everything about coaching. The man Diego Simeone, whose Atletico Madrid teams are famous for relentless intensity, studied under as a player. Bielsa's career defies simple categorization. He won the Copa America with Argentina in 1991 and led the national team to Olympic gold at the 2004 Athens Games. He took Chile, a nation with modest football history, to the knockout stages of the 2010 World Cup, playing aggressive, attacking football. He guided Athletic Bilbao, a club that only fields Basque players, severely limiting their talent pool, to the Europa League final and Copa del Rey final in the same 2011-2012 season. Yet his win percentage isn't elite, his trophy cabinet isn't overflowing, and he's been sacked from almost every job he's held. So why do Guardiola, Pochettino, Simeone, and dozens of other elite managers call him their greatest influence? Because Bielsa revolutionized how managers think about preparation, tactics, and intensity. His influence isn't measured in trophies, it's measured in ideas. When Bielsa arrives at a new club, before meeting the players or planning sessions, he watches every single match the team played the previous season, not highlights, full matches. Then he analyzes every opponent they'll face. He creates detailed files on every team, with tactical breakdowns, statistical analysis, and individual player tendencies. His preparation makes other managers look casual. The most famous example came in January 2019, after a lead staff member was caught Jorby County's training session. Instead of a brief apology, Bielsa called a press conference and gave a 70-minute PowerPoint presentation breaking down Jorby County's tactics in forensic detail, their build-up play, set-piece routines, pressing triggers, individual player movements. Then he revealed he had similar files on all 51 opponents Leeds would face that season. The journalist sat in stunned silence. His tactical system is equally uncompromising. Bielsa plays what he calls man-marking all over the pitch, a high-risk, high-reward approach where every player tracks a specific opponent regardless of where they go. When executed correctly, it suffocates opponents because there's no space anywhere. When it breaks down, it creates massive gaps. Bielsa's teams either dominate completely or concede in spectacular fashion. There is no middle ground. At Leeds, he demanded intensity levels that seemed physically impossible. His players ran more than any other team in the Championship, and later more than most in the Premier League. Sports scientists warned his methods would cause injuries. They were right, but the players who adapted became dramatically better. Calvin Phillips, a decent Championship midfielder before Bielsa, became one of England's best players. Patrick Bamford went from Championship journeyman to scoring 17 Premier League goals in his first season. Stuart Dallas transformed into an elite, versatile performer. These weren't world-class talents before Bielsa arrived. His system demanded excellence, and they rose to it. Within one season, Leeds were promoted to the Premier League as Championship champions, playing football so intense and relentless that opponents and fans alike watched in disbelief. Bielsa was sacked in February 2022 when results turned and the team looked exhausted, but his legacy at Leeds endures. The fans erected a mural of his face outside Elland Road. They named a street after him. Because Bielsa didn't just win promotion, he gave the club an identity. And his fingerprints are everywhere in modern football. The high-pressing systems Klopp and Guardiola use, Bielsa was pioneering those concepts in Argentina in the 1990s, decades before they became fashionable in Europe. The man-marking schemes Simeone employs at Atletico Madrid learned directly from Bielsa. The obsessive preparation now standard at elite clubs, Bielsa was doing that 30 years ago when other managers relied on intuition alone. Everyone who works with him says the same thing.
Marcelo Bielsa changed how they understood football. They made them better coaches, better players, better thinkers. That's revolution, not through winning trophies, but through changing minds.